Good morning, intuitives. Plan to hopefully get a couple videos out today, given that Monday is my only day off of the week, so I have the time to do it. Before I get into the topic of this video, and I'll say first, this is a video that's going to be in the vein of my importance for poetry to INFJ type videos, although this one's going to be the importance of music for INFJs, and that, music's a big part of expressing ourselves, and it helps us think, which I'll get into in a second. But first, I'd like to ask all subscribers and viewers to please consider help me raise money for charity. Watch my video about it, and the link to donate will be in the description and or the comments. It's for a worthy cause. Throw $5. Come on, don't be cheap. All right, so music for INFJ types. Music is very important for us in a lot of different ways. I actually took notes for this one. So, to start, we have issues with sometimes expressing ourselves, especially around groups of people. We like to think in solitude, particularly when we're in an NITI loop. And overthinking music helps us process thoughts. Like, we go and search for songs that could relate to, or at least to us relate to, what we're going through. Songs that can be very melancholic, even if we don't understand perhaps like the language that the song's in. Like, I can listen to some Italian music and just like by the way the song is, you can kind of relate to it. But different types of music help us at different times. Now, I'm a rocker through and through, but I listen to all kinds of rock, and I can get into like some, melancholic rock when I'm feeling down, or in an NITI loop. And I'll tell you, and because I've said this for a few years on forums, the theme song of INFJs is King of Pain by the Police. Sting's either an INFJ or an INFP. I've seen him listed as both. I don't really know. Never got to meet him. Got to see him in concert during their reunion tour in 2007. That was pretty cool. But, I would highly recommend that whole album, Synchronicity, to INFJs. I mean, the whole thing's based on Jungian psychology, but the song King of Pain, to me, describes what it's like to walk through the world as an INFJ, particularly in an NITI loop, better than anything. And I don't think it's just me that feels that, because, even though that song was released in 1983, later, I believe in the late 90s, maybe it was the early 2000s, Alanis Morissette did a really good cover of it, and she herself is also an INFJ. So I find it kind of, that it was written by someone who's possibly an INFJ, and it was like a real important influence and had great meaning to someone who is an INFJ. There's many other reasons. Music helps us recharge. We recharge in solitude. Like I said, it can help us think, process our thoughts as we pace back and forth, or as I did in the old days, pace back and forth and chain smoke cigarettes. It just gets your brain, certain songs can just help you make the connections, and you get that aha moment. Because even though INFJs who are aware they're INFJs know the best way to get out of an NITI loop is to actually be pulled out of it by other people. ENFJs are actually the best at it. They understand us, and they'll get us out of our hermit-like solitude, and reluctantly we'll go out, because they're so nice and hard to say no to. We'll go out and be around people, and eventually snap out of our loop. Although our gut instinct to deal with it is to sit and overthink and overthink and overthink and find a connection here and find something, read between the lines here, and if I just keep thinking about it and running it through my head, it'll work itself out. And we get like that because, every once in a while that works. Usually it doesn't. We just go deeper and deeper and deeper down the hole. But every once in a while, a connection will be made subconsciously in our head, and everything will make sense. And music's a big part of that. Musically, music expression, sorry, is a big part too. If you have musical talent to get out emotions, I'm unfortunately not in that group. I sang in choruses and stuff in high school and used to be at least decent at singing karaoke before getting laryngitis in 2009. Yeah, my voice didn't always sound like this. Now I don't watch my own videos because I don't like the sound of my own voice, but I haven't been able to sing in over a decade, and instrumentally, I play a little bass guitar, but I ain't much. But similar to poetry, writing music can be a way for us to not only express ourselves, but to get our true feelings out in a way that we feel comfortable expressing them. Because as INFJs, we're very metaphoric and very analogous, so we're not the best at just coming out and saying our feelings for what they are. We'll do it more cryptically and we'll try to do it poetically because we're hopeless romantics too, and most of us, or at least a good bit of us, are demisexuals, and we're also introverts. So just coming out and admitting something, plus we're notoriously hard on ourselves and we're always second guessing ourselves, always overthinking. A lot of us in our youth, once we achieve any bit of success, we suffer from imposter syndrome. So we're a mess, at least in our younger years. Our 20s, our teens and 20s are a mess. So, and also because we're not the best, except for like a small group of people you really trust because of our trust issues, and I spoke about that in a previous video. We're not the best at just like confiding in somebody and opening up about what we're going through. Most of us have a few people we can go to, but especially with, matters of the heart, and, unrequited love is a rite of passage for INFJs as well. In matters like that, we'll most likely seek solitude, and music plays a big part in that. Like I said, it allows us to process our thoughts. It allows us to relate to it, particularly music written by other INFJs. There's a lot of INFJ songwriters, at least more per capita than there should be, given we're like 1% of the population. I'm going to get into videos further about like how certain songs have helped me as INFJs, and give you a heads up. A lot of them are going to be Rush songs. It's a big band for me. Seen them 3 times. Once in their hometown of Toronto when I was living there, and that was really cool. But think about that. But Neil Peart, another INFJ, very deep. A lot of his songs are very deep, very metaphoric. Some of them are filled with melancholy. Neil Peart had more than his fair share of pain and suffering in his life. If you're not familiar with the band Rush, but they're a progressive rock band, or were. They're retired now because Neil Peart died, unfortunately. And just as an example, because I'm going to do some videos about certain songs and how they relate to people as INFJs, like I said, one that I find relates to me very well when you're in a moment where people you're close to aren't understanding what you're going through, and they're just basically trying to tell you to do what everybody else is doing and basically stop being you. It's not a well-known song. It's called Hand Over Fist by Rush. It's like a B-side off of their 1989 Presto album, but the lyrics in that have always spoke to me since I first heard the song in like 2005, and it's one of the ones that I go to when I'm trying to think about something, particularly if I feel like my friends don't understand what I'm going through. And an example of that, and especially back when I first found the song in 2005, you'd be like heartbroken that a girl you were interested in is dating some like douchebag 10 years older than her who doesn't treat her right. Like, at the time I was like 18 or 19, and this girl I liked was dating a 30-year-old who drove a Porsche because his daddy was rich, but that's not important. And all my friends at the time, keep in mind we were in university, are all just saying like, "Oh, dude, good looking guy, just go out and hook up with some girl and get over her." It's like, no. I didn't know what a demisexual was back then, but I knew, that I was not capable of that, and that, that certainly wasn't a solution to me, because I had known this girl for months before I, you know, formed a connection to her and wanted to date her, which makes sense for a demisexual knowing what I know now. And I just felt completely alone, like there was no one I could turn to in that situation, and like I said, I developed feelings for this girl, not just because of what she looked like. I mean, we hung out for months. I knew her. So, as I'm dealing with the fact that she's with somebody and she's telling me what a piece of shit he is, and that's weighing on my mind too. All I could do was, basically sit alone, play certain songs, try to process, think about what possibly I could do. And I thought about writing poetry, of course. I might have. I'll have to look through my book. I'm sure I wrote something in that time. Um, and yeah, the music helped me process that thought. Like I said, the Police and Sting's work are great with if you're dealing with matters of the heart. Phil Collins, another one. A lot of his songs are melancholic and deal with heartache and unrequited love, or meeting the right person at the wrong time. I'm good at that now. I'm 34 years old and I like ENFJs primarily. They're all married. That's always fun for those of you that are younger. If you know what you're looking for and then you find it and then you meet the girl's husband right when you're about to like try to ask her out. That's always fun. So, like I said, there's many reasons why music is so important to us. For those of you that have musical talent, I encourage you to continue to write music and to practice your instruments and not give a fuck what anybody thinks about what you're writing or how you play. If it helps you process your feelings and emotions, you should keep doing it, and it should not matter what anybody thinks. But we're INFJs, so we're not real big on, caring about what others think. Our taste in music does get energetic at times. Like we do as INFJs, we go through highs and lows, and a lot of us at some point in our life, someone accuses us of being bipolar. So certain music that may not be very deep might, just help us enjoy the up moments in life. Like for me, like 80s hair metal does that. Like, ooh, I just had a really good workout at the gym, or when I got my acceptance letter to the Arlington County Fire Department when I was one of 24 people out of 1,100 who got hired. It just helps you enjoy that walking on water feeling. Certain songs can just amplify that rarely felt moment for us as INFJs that everything's okay in the world, because usually everything's not okay. Usually nothing's okay. Yeah. But in those rare moments, certain songs just make you feel better. And another important part I want to get into is, and this is more for the guys. Guys, don't be ashamed to listen to fucking songs written by females. I know some guys, I wouldn't think it'd be an INFJ thing, but I know a lot of guys that, they try to hide the fact that they listen to bands with a female frontman. And why? Why do you care? What does it matter? If you like the music, who does it matter if the front man's female? I mean, one of my favorite bands is Hailstorm. Lizzie Hale's a badass. She headbutted me once. It was before they got real big in '08 up at State College. I think they were opening for Shinedown. But yeah, I was in the front, and she came out in the crowd and headbutted me. It was kind of hurt and turned me on at the same time. Never before or since felt those emotions together, but that was pretty cool. But yeah, certain music can help with that. I mean, Hailstorm's music, for example, a lot of what Lizzie writes is about being an outcast, not being misunderstood and being an outcast. Not as an INFJ in her case. I think she's writing it from the perspective of a metalhead, because she's about the same age as me, and we grew up in a time when we were like coming of age in middle school. That was at the height of all that boy band stuff, and it certainly wasn't cool to be going to school with shoulder length hair, jeans, boots, and a rock band t-shirt like I was doing. But again, we don't care about what's popular. We care about what speaks to us. And that's basically it. We don't, if it speaks to us, we'll listen to it. I mean, even, we all have those certain guilty pleasure songs. I know, I have a few that I turn to in certain moments that are totally outside the realm of the type of music I listen to, but in that moment it speaks to me. And anyone in that situation, those songs help you. Continue to listen to it. Don't give a damn who people think. Embrace your taste in music. Embrace what music helps you at certain times. Don't be ashamed to seek solitude, to want to listen to music when you feel that it's helping you work through something. You know, as as INFJs, that's a pretty common practice among us. That I know I'm not the only one who does that. So, music is important to us just as poetry. I gave you a few reasons why, and I'll do some videos in the future about how certain songs related to me as INFJs, in addition to the few I mentioned in this video. Please, again, charity, come on, $5 each, come on, $2, I don't care. Just please donate. It's a good cause. It's affected friends and family of mine. Charity's run by an ENFJ that helps, fellow intuitives charity, and you know how intuitives, we're all pretty charitable and want to help people. So please consider donating a few bucks. And as always trust your intuition, never sell out your integrity, and never forget that music's our friend and helps us work through things.